fuel surcharge. What is it that I add an extra 1 cent per mile cover? What do I cover with that 1 cent per mile that I add to my fuel surcharge when I add a fuel surcharge? Stay tuned. Oh, hey guys. The other day I noticed I had a strap going bad. Ain't nothing worse than getting popped with one of these when you're pulling it tight, so I'm gonna have to retire that one. That might hurt. So, just want to jump in here right quick and tell you that don't forget about the Mytee discount going on now. So, just go to the description below and click on the link and follow the directions, and you can get $10 off a $250 order. So, let's get on to the video. Y'all have a great day. Alright guys, so fuel prices have, I don't even have to say it, go nuts. Nearly $2 a gallon increase in the last couple of weeks here in our area. It's crazy. And we've all sat down and done the math, and we've talked to our customers and everything about just the fuel, what the fuel costs. The other day, Friday, my truck had about a half a tank in it, and I stopped, filled it up, and it was $421, and I had nearly a half a tank. I run a 118-gallon auxiliary tank, plus the Ram got about 30-something gallon tank. But anyway, when we do our fuel surcharge, we got to think a little bit more than just fuel. We got to think about what it is. So what drives fuel prices up is oil, right? So the price of the barrel of oil drives the price per gallon of fuel up. So if it's oil that makes fuel go up, well, oil makes a lot of different things. So oil is involved in a lot of different products that we as freight movers and truckers and hotshot truckers and all that we're directly related to. One of the big things other than fuel that oil affects our bottom line, and it affects it immediately if you're like me fixing to have to buy them, is tires. Our tire prices is crazy as it is. So I have 8 on this, and I have 6 on the truck. So that's 14 tires I have to buy. So if you do that at $200 a lick, that's $2,800. If you have to buy them all at one time, which thankfully, you know, I hardly ever, well, matter of fact, I've not had this trailer long enough to put a set of tires on it, but I'm fixing to have to start putting them on it. I got 2 that's going to have to be replaced soon. So I'm going to be, and I've got 4 that I'm fixing to have to replace on the truck. I'm fixing to have to buy tires at the wrong time, which is when oil prices are up. So I done a little research on Google, and I looked at several articles, and they were just all over the road about how oil affects tire prices. And so the best I could come up with is a 5 to 10% increase. When oil goes is pretty high, it affects the cost somewhere between 5 to 10%, and that is determined by ever how much oil goes up. You see what I'm saying? And oil fluctuates daily. And anybody that watches the stock market, oil fluctuates daily. But here lately, the oil's only went up daily. And so it's about, in our area, about to level off at about the 520 mark, 530 mark in our area. It seems to have leveled off a little. It may go up next week, but I filled up Friday. And so hopefully maybe it's tapering off. But tire cost. So let's just for easy math say that it cost me $2,800 for a set of tires that I may have to replace during this increase in oil prices, right? So I know I'm probably going to have to replace at least 6 during this. But let's say we have to replace all of them during this deal with Russia and Ukraine and driving oil prices up. So if I have to do that, say my cost is, let's just throw out $2,800. That's $200 a piece. That's pretty fair. They might be a little less, might be a little bit more, but let's just say $2,800. Well, that's for easy math. Say it is 10% increase. And I actually think the last time oil shot up like this and I had to buy tires, my tires were more than 10% higher. But let's just go with 10%. That's a $280 increase for a set of tires for this truck and trailer. $280. So that is a direct, right now, impact on the fuel. So if it don't drop and I have to buy a tire, that's a direct impact, just like fuel. So I have to build that into my fuel surcharge. Well, you say, well, a penny's not a lot. A penny is a lot. A penny is a matter of getting loads or not getting loads. But a penny over a year's time is quite a bit. But there's a lot of things that you don't think about it left. Let me just tell you. So if you run 150,000 miles in a year, and a lot of guys may run more, some may run less. I'll probably do about 100-something thousand running here local. But let's just say 150,000. I think that'll get most of us in close to that range. So a penny for 150,000 is $1,500. Well, I just told you I had a $300 increase just on one set of tires. That's also based on that 150,000 based on 1 year. So say if I have a year where I'm loaded a lot, loaded heavy a lot, I may have to do another set of tires in that year. So for easy math, 300 and 300, that's 600. That's nearly half of the 1,500 that 1 cent created. So it's like government doing taxes. 1 cent don't seem like a lot, but over a year, it adds up to a substantial amount of money. Well, you've got $1,200 just in tire increases if you buy 2 sets. And you've allowed yourself $1,500 over the cost of fuel. Well, we've not added everything in yet because we don't know everything that's going to be increased because of oil prices, because it's going to matter as far as the companies automatically increase on everything, or do they do like me and my wife with our company did? We waited a couple weeks to add a fuel surcharge, and we just sort of ate it for about a week or two to see if it was going to come back down, and it didn't. Well, one of the things I can think of that is another direct impact is oil changes in that truck. That's a direct impact. So that's extra money, because if oil's high, it takes oil to run the trucks, right? And so that's a direct impact. There is so many things that affect it. Well, if we're adding fuel surcharges to our shipping fees, then short term, if it's a short-term increase, there's going to be short-term costs added to what it costs us to run. So like I talked about in the video the other day, we got to know all of our pennies. We got to know all of our numbers. Don't listen to the smack on Facebook, on the groups and all that, where they're just throwing out numbers randomly. We got to sit down and break down all of our numbers, because everything that cost-wise associated with this truck and trailer getting a freight from point A to point B is a cost. If oil drives that cost up, that runs our pennies up per mile. So it's not just the direct cost of fuel. The direct cost of fuel has pushed a lot of things up. So we have to keep our profit margin so that we're making money, right? So to do that is that fuel surcharge has to increase to cover all of those expenses. So what I do, I figure up what fuel direct cost. Because a lot of times, I've been through this. This ain't my first rodeo with fuel costs. I've owned 2 or 3 businesses. We just in the process of selling a business. Every business I've ever owned has been affected by fuel. And we've had to pass along fuel surcharges in about every business we've ever had. And so, most of the time when we have these big spikes like this, especially when there's a disturbance in another part of the world, usually over time, that cost will drop just a little bit over time. So, what I'm saying is, a woodpecker started pecking on a tree and sort of made me lose my concentration. When you sit down and figure up that fuel cost, I'm just going to throw out a number. I'm not giving you guys my number. It's what my numbers are, because some people say you're lying. Some people say you're not doing your math right. I know how to do my numbers, and I'm not going to get into that debate about my numbers and your numbers. You're over the road. You may run East Coast, West Coast. I'm local. I'm in Alabama. My costs to yours in California, totally different. So, you have to do your number. But let's just throw out a number. Let's say 20 cents a gallon is how much fuel, 20 cents a mile. Let's say 20 cents a mile is how fuel has affected you. Let's say you've done the numbers, say from 360 to 560, and you say, well, if it don't get more than 560, that adds about 20 cents a mile. Well, if you're going to add 20 cents a mile, it is my suggestion to you, and it is what I do. I try to build in some way in my billing, whether it's to direct on the surcharge of 1 penny, or like in my billing, we have to bill our invoices several different ways, because there's different ways that we work for this company. So in some form or fashion, I build in around 1 cent per mile to cover the things that maybe I don't think of, or the things I do know, like tires. And so take care of yourself when you do these fuel surcharges, because you don't want to sell yourself short and get in a bind. You want to make sure that you've got your expenses covered and you're not losing money, because if you don't watch it, you want to add enough for the fuel. And the trucking business is really competitive, especially hot-shotting, especially if you're in states that there's more trucks than there are freight, and there's a few of those down here down south. So make sure you add those pennies, and think about what you're adding, and think about how you're being affected. So it only sounds like it's a penny, but that penny adds up. $1,500 in a year if you run 150,000 miles. Not a lot per invoice, but it's a lot per year. And that's how the numbers work, by the year. And so, cover your costs. Alright guys, I'm going to get off here. I just wanted to shoot that at you, and hope that helps, and hope that helps you when you go to figuring out how much you're going to pass along to your customers. Do like I do. Try to be as good as you can to your customers, because that'll keep them around longer, and you don't want to lose a gig, by gouging. I'm not a gouger. I just try to cover my costs. And that's what business is about, covering your costs. So, hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys have a safe trip if you're out riding. And remember what I always say, if you want to have a safe trip, you got to start out doing those safe things like inspecting your trucks. Love you guys. See ya.